Again,
Yeah, start from the top.
I'll go from the jump. Uh, Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Truckers Wisdom, a podcast hosted for and by truckers. The idea of this podcast is just so you can understand the perspectives of the people working in the trucking industry today. I am your host, Bugsy the Wheel. Today I'm joined by Hugh Hare. Hugh, say hello.
Hello, great to see you.
And Constantine Friedrich. Constantine, say hello.
Constantine,
Constantine,
Friedrich.
sorry. Say hello.
Hello.
Okay. While we're here, Constantine, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hello, I'm Constantine Friedrich. I'm a lecturer at Yale and Harvard. I have a background in microbiology, physics, and classics. In my spare time, I like to do trucking, just for the fun of it, to put myself on the level of the working man.
Oh, that's very admirable of you.
It is
Um,
indeed.
Amicably even. Q, on the other hand, why don't you introduce yourself? I've known you for a very long time, but the folks at home, please.
Yeah, we know each other quite intimately. Yes, it is me, Hugh Hare, the sexiest trucker of the year 2018.
Please.
As I was saying, but sorry, I'll just finish introducing myself because the audience will clearly want to know what my field of expertise is. Yes, that's right, it's trucker psychology. Yes,
No,
it's a real
continue.
field. Yeah, it's a real field. I know you scoff at me.
It was online diploma though, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, so gentlemen, the point of debate today is the existence or not of Santa Claus. This is a fiercely debated topic. There was a study that came out a few weeks ago that said 17% of people thought Santa Claus wasn't real. Um, I'm trying to think where we should begin here. Do you gentlemen have, first of all, let's just get your initial thoughts out
Hugh,
the
have you
way.
taken the time to have an opening statement? Did they teach you that in the online course?
It wasn't on debating, but yes, I'm fully acquainted on the subject. As many of my lady fans know, I hosted the Women's Truckers Weekly debate.
I'm ready.
Okay, so I'm ready to start with my opening statement if you are.
Oh, I'm always ready.
I
Who's going
think
first?
Hugh maybe needs some more time to formulate his while I'm talking.
Oh, no, I'm ready.
Santa Claus, Saint Nick, Frosty Jack, the God of the North. This elusive being goes by many names and is pictured throughout history in many different forms and figures, some expressing a sense of warm omnipotence, others a malevolent fury and unbridled rage. So it is of no surprise that this being's existence and disposition has been a topic of much contention and furious scholarly debate throughout the years. Despite this, the current intellectual elite have attempted to distill this once intriguing and tentative debate into nothing but myth and legend, a fleeting childhood hero to be disregarded once puberty is reached. But what if I told you that this change in intellectual trajectory is representative of a dark and dangerous deception, a global conspiracy to cover up a great evil, one more entrenched in fervorous greed and exploitation than ever seen by humanity before? So I need you gentlemen to look at the images that I've sent into the chat for the next part.
Very well.
Let me have
I
a
can
quick
open those up
peek at
for you now.
these.
I'll start by laying a historical groundwork, exploring the various depictions of Santa Claus throughout the ages. So figure 1 should be the first image posted. Yeah. Okay, so that's the first image that you just had up there. That's figure 1.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so this is an 8th century depiction of the demon Jogamander, which roughly translates to ice molester in ancient Nordic. A runestone found in 1976 tells the tale of this bearded assailant, Jogamander, who would drain the souls of Viking children who misbehaved and reward good children with golden ornaments and fresh fruit. That's the runestone, that's figure 2.
Very
One
well.
striking similarity between all ancient depictions of Santa Claus is his floppy red hat, described in this source as a headpiece made of the finest woad, hangeth from his dome as if a phallus in the wind. This factor is not a modern invention, but an amply recorded ancient phenomena. So that is a Viking depiction of Jorgamander the demon. It very closely relates with pretty much every other ancient and classical depiction of Santa Claus. You have the hat, you have the soul draining, you have the food eating. So figure 2, this should be a manuscript page. If you can look at that.
Yes, it is just here. Proceed.
Yep, got it.
This image is from the 12th century Lindisfarne manuscript. Its depiction of Santa Claus, while slightly varying from the classical ones, still maintains a few clear similarities. The phallic headpiece in this image is its own appendage, and the souls of the children being collected are in large metal cauldrons. Oh, there's also another image as well, which is the Lindisfarne manuscript one. The souls are in the cauldrons.
Yep. You see that?
Okay, you have that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's from the Lindisfarne manuscript. Lindisfarne was a monastery in Ireland, mainly known for being the first monastery in the entirety of the UK to be raided by the Vikings.
In Ireland?
Manuscript in Ireland.
But in the UK?
Well, back then it was in
Back
the UK.
then, what in...
I'm using
Where?
This no, okay, Hugh.
Yeah,
This is
that's
all.
what
This is all
UK is
semantics.
about.
This is all
This is
semantics.
all semantics. This is a current
It is.
political
No,
issue.
you're-
Yeah, I'm going to
Okay,
have to
well,
ask you
if
to
you'd
let Constantine continue.
If you'd like me to use a different definition, I will just use island. The first place in the British Isles. Are you comfortable with that definition?
Yes,
To be
that's
raided by
correct.
the Vikings. So the Lindisfarne manuscript was one of the only pieces of art retrieved, and it has multiple depictions of Santa Claus in it. That one is one of the examples. Figure 3, this is the one that I thought was figure 2. My apologies. It's an 11th century Armenian manuscript. It recounts the hiding of food and wine on December the 23rd in order to protect the already diminished winter harvest from what this monk's described as the frosty demonus, who collects the essence of the troubled young in a silken sack. This is the first historical account of Santa using a sack specifically, but this one could purely signify an evolution or a mutation to make his soul harvesting more efficient. Now, in a vacuum, these sources can be mocked and ridiculed as heresy and superstition, but the clear continuity between all of these depictions suggests a phenomenon beyond explanation. Other similar phenomena exist in ancient Rome, the Indus River Valley civilization, Middle Kingdom Egypt, Han China, and Slough. Second part of my opening statement. Now everyone knows what an elf is. Santa's cute little compatriots, happily helping him assemble trinkets and toys at his home in the North Pole. And I'm sure neither of us, being academics, need an introduction to their solidified place in global mythology. The elf is widely represented amongst almost all Norse and Germanic cultures, from the rocky western Irish coast to the ice-coated hills of Norway. These small creatures, often demonized but more widely deified, are one of the most congruent mythological constants in Norse and Saxon mythology. See 4 for visual examples. Now, the correlation between geographical placement of elvish depictions and the vicinity of these locations to the suggested home of these creatures presents a strange suggestion that through some sort of population of osmosis, elves have been slowly migrating in some means from the North Pole to Denmark and northern England in the last 1,000 years. Fluctuations in these populations have been clearly observed by historians, with the inflation being largely condensed in the coastal regions of northern Europe, with an unknown group not being represented as coming from any other observable population centre suddenly start to appear. This directly correlates with a sharp increase in archaeological evidence of skeletons with proportional dwarfism, which is a type of dwarfism in which, if you think of classical dwarfism, these people are shrunk down, but they have similar proportions to a normal-sized human being. Now, proportional dwarfism, which is a genuine condition, although very rare in the modern world, is one in which you're shrunk down, your head and your bones and your entire body is proportionate to your size. And elvish representations in local texts and manuscripts also start to increase. Now, this is paired with striking evidence of a catastrophic event occurring at the southern coast of the North Pole around the time of these population displacements. Ice core samples dating from around the 2nd century show a sharp increase in certain chemicals only usually associated with industrial waste material, and the striking appearance of human bone remnants that perfectly match the proportional dwarfism skeletons found on the northern coasts of Scandinavia. This would suggest that some sort of industrial operation has been in place at the North Pole for the last 1,000 years, and that at some point a mass genocide caused an incredibly large population displacement. Now you may ask, Hugh, I would like if you refrained from these things until I'd finished with my opening statement.
Yeah, okay. You're opening rubbish.
Now you may ask, what happened to these elvish people, and why aren't they present in modern day society? Well, to put it simply, they are. And because of their slow and seamless integration into modern culture, they are now known today as little people. See Figure 7. Okay. From this, it is fair to hypothesize that Santa is some form of malevolent despot using slave labor to aid the production and distribution of toys to children in order to counterbalance and quell the unrest that would be caused from his lust for children's souls, and that the mass migrations show evidence of some form of archaic worker strike which was brutally quelled. Now, something like this would be more or less accepted in ancient cultures, being that their superstitious and zealous nature would leave room for something as dark and mystical as this. But what about the modern world, obsessed with skepticism and reason, compelled by science, not nature? We are not so quick to accept injustice and pain. It seems as if Santa needed a rebranding. And what would be the best way to achieve this? First, for his image to be cleaned up, to be presented as a being of joy, and to be revered within the hearts and minds of every child on the planet. And second, to be mythologized, to alleviate the threatening reality of what he is doing, to allow him to be permanently implanted into the mind of every imaginative child, and to be treated as nothing but fun and harmless lie to the more skeptical and mature adult population. So how did this rebranding occur? And how would Santa Claus be capable of achieving this on his own? Well, to put it simply, he didn't. He was helped. We all know the quaint story of Santa being turned red by the genius marketing strategy concocted by Coca-Cola. It's a fun party story used to fill moments of brief silence, to be followed in quick succession with either an expression of mild interest or one of apathy. But this story has a much more malevolent past. So, I have hypothesized that the Coca-Cola company have been using Santa Claus's industrial workhouses in order to produce Coca-Cola in return for him being remarketed by them.
It's a crackpot theory.
A crackpot theory, you say?
Yes, it's nothing more than a crackpot theory. This is based on...
Is that your argument, Hugh? Is that your argument?
What's this based on? Let's talk about what this is based on. So he decides to fly to the North Pole every now and then, and all of a sudden he's got factories up there with Santa Claus.
What else do you think he would be doing in the North Pole, Hugh?
I don't know. Maybe getting the colouring for Santa's new white fluffy bit. I don't know. Santa is inspired by the North Pole. I mean, we all know that. This is just all.
You're pivoting.
Story.
Hugh. I'm going to bring this conversation back down to reality for a minute. So, in fact, there are no aeroplane landing pads in the entirety of the North Pole and the Antarctic. What we know is from flight data of his private plane. This is not a company jet. This is a private plane. The radar disappears. The radar reading of the plane disappears once it reaches the North Pole. So this would lead to me thinking that there is some concealed or secret landing pad for aeroplanes at the North Pole somewhere. What we would assume as men of science, that it is nearly impossible, one, to fly a plane to the North Pole, considering the climate, and two, to be able to build a consistently maintained landing pad.
That is just still a cock and bull theory. There is no way to track.
I'm waiting for you to present an argument.
Sorry, this was in the 1930s, you said? Yes, 1931.
1931.
All right. Okay, so how then would they have tracked a plane like that before the invention of the satellite? Also, how do you think the scientists got there? This is just completely unfounded.
How the scientists got to the North Pole?
Yeah. Planes.
We had radar in 1931.
Yeah,
we had commercial flights in 1931. We had a need to track planes to make sure we knew where they landed and to make sure that if they disappeared, we knew the place of that disappearance.
With flight logs. There was no other way at the time to properly track a flight like that. Satellites is how it's done. Radar is used on ships and boats and for, the odd plane coming in to attack London in the Blitz. But come off it. This is just a load of rubbish that you've glued together some random bits of evidence.
Glued together? No. This is an informative hypothesis reached after study. No, for years of study. Of all the...
A lack of study.
Gentlemen.
Bugsy.
Okay.
What are you, a trucker psychologist again?
Yeah.
Okay.
I need studies for that.
I'd love to see your lack of credentials, Hugh.
Constantine, please. So that's a very compelling argument you've made. I have some questions for you in a moment, but first, I think it's important to let Hugh come forward with his points. Hugh.
Oh yes, Hugh.
for the
Give us
people at
your
home-
opening statement.
Yeah. So
I'm
I,
sure it'll be on a Shakespearean level.
I'm going to be honest. I didn't prepare half as much as Constantine here, and do you know why that is? Because do we really need proof for something
Yes.
not existing like this when
Yes.
he's coming up with arguments so just rubbish?
Rubbish.
I don't think. Hey, this is my time to talk. Anyway,
Is that the same as the rubbish you pick up when you
Constantine.
can't get any trucking jobs?
Constantine.
at least I know how to drive a fucking car.
Hugh, continue.
Anyway, so here's what I wrote. Father Christmas, more like Father Shitmas. Father Christmas, more like full of shitmas. This mythical Father Christmas, more like full of shitmas. This mythical being has been used as a way to abuse kids and brainwash them for at least a decade. I'm honoured to be the one.
A decade.
Finally, at least.
Someone has absolutely no knowledge of the historical context behind Santa Claus, Hugh.
I said at least. And yes, I do.
At least a
Because-
decade. At least a
Hey,
fucking
I let
millennia.
you speak, didn't I? I let you run your mouth with the gruffalo and or whatever you were talking about for half of.
No, continue. I'd like to hear your words of wisdom, Hugh.
Anyway, I'm honoured to be the one to finally disprove this load of tripe, bollocks, and that's it, rubbish. So, Santa.
You sound like a British TV presenter.
It's perfect. He's so good at it.
Bollocks and rubbish. Sorry, dude.
Santa, it's a conspiracy created by paedophile rings to get into children's homes through the chimneys, starting off in around the 1850s. So, Bugsy, I sent you this document. Do you have it to hand?
Which document would this be? Oh,
Yes,
I
I
think so.
sent it to you directly because we've got the first figure. I can read out figure 1 to you, but figure 2, figure 3 is for some reason not showing up in the document. But I already sent you that before. That was that picture I sent you.
Do I get to view these
Yeah,
documents?
Yeah, but I would also request that you send in the picture.
Or would
because
that harm your argument, Hugh?
It wouldn't harm my argument because you couldn't argue anything. I could just... Oh yeah, I thought you said you got the ad hominems out of the way. You ad homo sapien.
That was an accurate representation of your speech pattern, Hugh.
No, mine's much more sensual than that, and you know it.
Women
Which involves
like
just saying
brains
this.
more than they like brawn, Hugh.
Oh, no,
Yeah. How's your daughter's brain?
It's a fiery intellectual fire.
Sorry to throw this on you like this, Bugsy. You know I'd never do this to a real friend on
How does your
purpose.
second wife feel
Would
about
not
all
do
this,
to a
Hugh?
real friend. That's true. Okay. One moment here, gentlemen. I have just found the figure.
Awfully silent,
Uh,
Hugh. Cat got your tongue, or is your second wife's tongue wrapped around Bugsy the Wheel's penis?
Excuse
least
me,
I've
there,
had a
Constantine. I'd much prefer if we kept my wife out of this
I
discussion.
don't believe in marriage. It's
Clearly
purely an
not.
excuse to let your relationship slowly deteriorate.
Mhm.
Oh, at least I've been in a relationship.
Relationships. Yes.
So have
Wow.
I, Hugh. And I, for
Yep.
one, am also in a relationship with science, unlike you.
I'm in a relationship with the people and all the ladies out there.
Oh, I've been in a love affair with the scientific process for the last 40 years of my life, Hugh. What do you know other than oil and truck grease?
I'm sorry, are you belittling our audience?
Knowing how to change a tire won't win you this debate.
That's what has just been sent is figure 2. Okay, so here we've got figure 1, which is actually a transcript from the City of Hull versus Notorious Nonce Nigel Nancy. So here's what he said during his court case. Through the chimney, yes. Through the chimney, we'll come. We'll come. Of course, this statement, as you would probably know, Constantine, has been debated amongst many scholars when it comes to what it actually means, right?
Are those scholars the people that you talk to at the pit stop?
No, these are the scholars that I found on the internet. But yeah, so paired with the picture here of the same man, Nigel Nancy, dressed as Santa with a child, I think we all know what that really means. Yeah, will come. This is organisation.
This is a fucking mall Santa, Hugh. What does this prove?
That is Nigel Nancy.
Nigel Nancy? Of course I know who Nigel Nancy is. Again, this is all totally anecdotal.
This isn't anecdotal. That is literally a transcript. You didn't use a data set. Why should I provide one?
Okay, no. A rough example of a paedophile going through a chimney in order to fuck a child isn't enough to prove that Santa is a hoax.
Yes, but we all know with the story of Nigel Nancy that he was linked to those paedophile rings.
This doesn't prove
and he'll come. And there he is, dressed as Santa with a child. Why is he going through the chimney?
Gentlemen, could we please keep discussion away from paedophilia as much as possible?
I would love to, right?
Unfortunately, I think the only thing that we do see eye to eye on is the inherent paedophilic value of Santa. Well, I don't mean value, but I mean his condition. Yeah.
Oh Christ.
Santa is a paedophile.
Yes, I think we can all agree on that. But you're saying that Santa is some kind of omnipotent god that's a paedophile.
So if the crux of your argument is the fact that Santa Claus is a paedophile, or is underlining the paedophile rings that you assume disproves that Santa Claus exists, is it not more convincing as to see Santa Claus as this malevolent demon cryptid who is also a paedophile? It would make sense. I mean, how logistically can a paedophile ring rape every child on the planet within one night? That is impossible.
It's a very big paedophile ring. So yeah, I think this is clear evidence that there is definitely a paedophile ring, or at least there was in the 1800s. And can I also lead you on to the next bit of evidence? I sent you this a while ago, Bugsy. This was the news article.
Yes, this was quite a while ago. You've been preparing for a very long time.
Yes.
The lack of material compared to Constantine is disturbing. But
Hugh, you have a half-page Google document that has figure 3 and then no image below it.
Oh, figure 3. Oh, I forgot to mention figure 3. Also, yeah, we can go to figure 3 if you like. Figure 3.
You seem quite ill-prepared for this debate.
Well, to be honest, I know it's a walk in the park. I mean, with arguing with you, yeah, I looked you up. Yeah, you can even win the 100 meters against Paralympians with no wheelchairs.
I mean, in a literal sense, that didn't happen. I don't know if you're insinuating that I'm in fact not a good scholar, or I'm not able to argue my points correctly and provide ample evidence.
I'm just insinuating that you're a loser, and I don't think I need to insinuate that. There's no debate there.
Hugh, unless you provide me with an accurate data set or an actual argument.
Look, you sound like a strangled cat.
No, Hugh, we're friends here, okay? This is a good faith argument between two academics. It's not personal, although I do know your second wife and Bugsy the Wheel have had a pretty intimate relationship in the past.
Gentlemen, if we could remain light on sexual content on this podcast.
Bugsy, don't lie.
I hear that your daughter had a pretty
how was it,
relationship
Bugsy?
with the road.
Was it good?
Yeah.
It's still good, thank you. We're happily married, actually.
Okay, Hugh. There's a difference. There's a difference to me exploiting the fact that you've had a string of dreadful marriages in the past, and you directly attacking my mentally deficient child. How could you?
Look,
this is not.
You're trying to get to me, right? I haven't even finished my argument yet. You've not let me finish my argument, and here you are, just
Hugh, it's okay.
It's not okay. Right. Bugsy, take control.
Maybe we should engage in a guided meditation together, Hugh.
Gentlemen, I have just found the document.
Thank you. So as you can see, we've got a news story here from 2008. So mature. Yes. Okay. So this is from the Thingringho Gazette.
Newsstory.pdf. How do you pronounce this?
Thingringho. Yes, it's a real place. It's not too far from Colchester.
Okay, so Hugh, I'm making a few initial observations here. This is the Fingering Hoe Gazette right now. This is the town you grew up in, right?
Yes, up
The town you
until
met your first wife.
no, actually, this is not the
She ran
town.
away with an Irish sailor, didn't she?
No, that'd be my brother she ran away with.
Of course, Hugh. So it seems like you're directly mentioned in this news story, and
Yeah,
it looks
I'm
as if...
sorry. Who's
know.
meant to be leading this part? It's meant to be me. Yes. Okay. So could you just shush for a second?
Hugh, you gave away your
Hugh,
right to an
Constantine,
opening
Hugh does
statement
have a
when you
point.
didn't have one.
I did have an opening statement. I gave a good opening statement, but you spent so long interrupting it that you didn't even
You
hear
just
it.
think you can swing your
Gentlemen.
cock around for the
Gentlemen.
entirety of debate, and
Yeah,
the
the ladies would
10% of
love
our
that.
audience, which are female,
Gentlemen,
will
Jesus.
fall head over heels for you.
Please,
Gentlemen.
Constantine. Okay, look, we're friends. We're friends.
Anyone with half a fucking brain knows that you have nothing but total anecdotal evidence behind
Okay,
you.
you spaghetti-head twat.
No,
What
I
did
have
you
laid
just-
an intricate
what did you
historical
just say?
portrait to support my argument, and have
Yeah.
linked into modern sources, and you have nothing. You have nothing but a news article from your fucking backwater town that you grew up with, of you making up some
Oi,
bullshit.
Constantine, what are you looking for once, you fucking twat, okay? So, here we are with the Fingering Hoe Gazette. I'm going to read this article, or at least the bits that matter, and you're going to listen, okay? Otherwise, I'm going to go over to where you are, and I'm going to fucking
Hugh,
cook that
Hugh,
spaghetti off the top
no,
of your
calm
head,
down.
alright?
Calm down and read it. It's fine. It's okay. In and out. Okay, read it. No, I'm ready.
Sorry. This is quite hard one for me to read because it's about something that happened to me.
I thought you wanted to read it, Hugh. Go ahead. Come on.
No, I do want to
No,
read it.
Hugh, we're all friends here.
Hey,
Just fellow
stop.
academics
We're
wanting
not
to
friends.
find the truth.
We're not friends. We're not friends, okay? Stop. Right.
It's just going to take an interlude in the bathroom. This would be where the sponsored segment was, but it's the first episode. If you'd like to sponsor the show, please send an email over to truckers.wisdom@gmail.com. We're a very small startup as of now, but yeah.
I'd sell anything if you need me to. Anything at all.
Um,
I've got the skills.
I don't know.
Sorry?
No. I don't need anything from you.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Brugsy. I thought, we go back
shouldn't
quite far.
thank.
So.
You shouldn't thank. Do you remember what happened last time before? She left. Okay.
Okay, Hugh, I'm ready.
All right.
Hello, Constantine. Welcome back. Wait, can I just reintroduce the show? Is that okay?
Of course, yes, it's okay.
All right.
Bugs.
Very well. Welcome back to Trucks Wisdom. We've just taken a brief interlude, and we are joined here by Hugh Hare and Constantine Fredreich.
Hello, I'm Constantine.
And Hugh, you have a news article to present, I believe.
Yes, I do. So this is an extract from, actually it's just the front page of the Fingering Hoe Gazette from the 26th of December 2008.
How old are you, Hugh?
That is really not on the agenda right now. Okay. Local house burns down. Santa nowhere to be found. That's the headline. They say a dog is for life, not just for Christmas. And so are parents. Local boy Hugh Hare has neither as of yesterday evening, when his family home burned down, killing both his parents and his dog. If, on your way to work, you go by Flomwell Street, we recommend taking a detour. The cleanup crew are going to be there for a long time. Hugh Hare was found a safe distance away from the house, next to a canister of gasoline. Firefighters say it's lucky that they found him, because if the fire spread, that canister he happened to be just standing by might have caught fire and killed him too. Many locals have noted the severe lack of Santa at the scene of yesterday's fire. It's Christmas, said neighbour Jane Janine. Surely Santa would have come out to at least watch. Where is he? I implore you. Where is he? Jane was also found dead a few hours later after a curling accident. This scandal...
Jane should have been more careful, shouldn't she?
Hey, Jane was my art teacher.
Maybe Hugh should have been as well. What a coincidence that gas canister was sitting right next to you, Hugh. Right.
Constantine. What I thought.
Continue.
This is scandal unlike any fingering hoe has ever seen. Blood, guts, and no glory. Now we make an open request for the holders of the funeral of the deceased. Don't say ashes to ashes, that'd be really insensitive. I mean, really insensitive. They are literally ash now, and that child will be thinking of that the whole time. Would you really do that to a child? Editor Charles Wellsworth might, but no one else would, please. And that was by Hef Modal, his article.
So, in line with my argument towards the existence and disposition of Santa Claus, I present Santa Claus as a malevolent and evil being intent on as much destruction and paedophilia as he can get.
Yeah.
So, do you see how, in some sense, this article from the Fingering Hoe Gazette may support my argument? The fact that Santa would never look. Okay, Hugh. I'm being honest with you now, Hugh. I'm not going to make a personal attack because of this, because what I see is a clear example of someone who is not able to come to terms with the past.
Okay, right. This is not a psychoanalysis right now. I'm a trucker psychologist. I know what I'm talking about. Now, would you let me continue with my argument?
Hugh, I'm extrapolating this from the fact that this has basically nothing to do with the conversation.
You have a real talent for bullshit. You know that, right?
Hugh,
yeah, okay.
Hugh, Hugh. I'm saying this with your best interest. I'm saying this with your best interest in mind.
No, you're not. You're saying to make yourself
Hugh. Look.
Bugsy, mute clown. Because I'm trying to make my point.
Bugsy, I'm trying to sum this up.
Okay, let him finish. That's all I
Please,
ask.
Hugh, let me finish. This won't take long.
No,
he should not me.
Please.
Because I'm trying to make my point. So you said that it supports your point, right? And I just want to say this here, right? Jane Janine died in a curling accident. Curling. Do you really think she was some kind of scholar on whether or not Santa existed? She just supported your poppycock.
I said nothing about the curling accident, Hugh.
No, I did.
You did, yes, but I wasn't bringing that up.
You said that it supports it because some woman who died in a curling accident believes the same thing as you. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Shh. I'm not finished yet. Okay.
Hugh, darling. I
also would like to make a point, right? That after this happened, suddenly no presents from Santa. Maybe the odd bit of coal every now and then, but that's kind of just some real practical joke.
I'd like to interject. I'd very much like to interject here.
Yeah, we make up some kind of story about my dead parents. So you're gonna try and make it look like it's a load of bullshit.
I'm only going to do what any reputable scholar would do. I'm going to reach a hypothesis based on the evidence presented.
Oh, you don't have much of a talent for that, as you proved earlier.
Bugsy, would you let me speak, please?
Fine.
Hugh, is your point finished?
My point is finished. Yeah, let's listen.
Hugh is rambling, Bugsy.
Let's listen to this tripe.
Constantine.
So what I see here is a sad story. I mean, the amount of despair it fills my entire body with. This is sad. This is
don't patronize me.
Hugh, no, this is genuine emotion. It's swelling inside. I'm very sorry that this happened to you, Hugh. But what this looks like to me is an impressionable young child whose biggest hero is Santa Claus is upset when Santa Claus doesn't save his house from burning down. And of course, to any young child believing in Santa Claus and believing in his innocence, in his goodness, they would be absolutely struck with despair, thinking that on Christmas, of all days, he did not come to their aid. And I understand that has hurt you, Hugh, and it has hurt you considerably. But what has clearly happened is you have channeled this traumatic childhood incident into some sort of strange pseudo-intellectual argument for Santa not existing. And you don't believe Santa doesn't exist because of empirical evidence. You don't believe he exists because you hate the idea of him. You hate the idea of Santa Claus because if Santa Claus is real and if Santa Claus exists to the extent in which I'm describing him.
Okay, so right, using the using the idea that your
I
argument.
have a
that's all-
PhD in psychology, if you didn't remember. I'm perfectly entitled to this.
You have a PhD in bullshit. You sound nothing like my therapist. That's how I know you're wrong. Judging from your argument so far, they found midget skeletons in the North Pole, and then suddenly Santa exists, and there's some phallus demon in the 10th century or something like that.
What I'm presenting is a insanely.
It's a story. It's a story.
No,
wake up.
Please.
No.
Okay.
It's a story. Okay. Wake up. Okay. Smell the shit.
Bugsy,
Smell the
Bugsy,
napalm in this morning in Vietnam.
Do I have the floor?
No, you don't. You had the floor.
Santa Claus is
all over my dead parents.
He's represented in multiple different cultures, spanning an insanely wide amount of time, that had absolutely no contact with each other in exactly the same way in each of these cultures, with very minor differences. But if you were Santa Claus and you were trying to keep the reality of your existence hidden, would you not mold yourself to fit the cultural identity of the people that you were going to?
So I make myself a Palestinian.
In England, they have different depictions of Santa Claus.
Because they're different things. Because they're different things. These are completely different, made-up creatures that the paedophiles have made up to suit their own culture, right? So there's also different kinds of bread all over the world. You know, cultures that had no contact with one another have
Santa
bread.
Claus is a paedophile.
Are you telling me that bread is some kind of omnipotent?
He's a spiritual paedophile.
No, he's not a spiritual paedophile. He's your average, standing outside a school for way too long nonce. And he's nothing more than that.
So your first, which was your opening statement, the only evidence that proves is that a paedophile dressed up as Santa Claus in order to get into people's houses and sexually assault their children.
Yeah, because they're keeping it secret, right?
What does multiple mean? 10, 15, 20? Look.
Enough
Hugh,
to get into every child.
I'd like to have the time. I'd like to have the time to give my.
May I just interject, Constantine? I was in the neighborhood. It was 79.
79.
One evening, extremely impressive. Tragic, of course, but impressive.
Mm-hmm. So Ethan,
exactly.
I mean, so Hugh,
it's good pace. It's good pace.
I'd like to know how this isolated example of a paedophile dressing as Santa Claus for a paedophile, this is a perfectly good strategy in order to achieve your means and achieve your goals. Dressing up as Santa. Every kid loves Santa. 79. If Santa approaches you and tells you to come into his van, you'll be like, yes, of course I will. It's Santa.
It's not just one. It's 79 in the same place. I mean, Bugsy said it, didn't he?
Hugh, explain to me how this is representative of a wider issue.
Well, because 79, and it was a different village, I'm pretty sure, from the original one, because this first place was in Hull, right?
He's not arguing anything.
I am arguing something. I'm clearly arguing something. If you can't see that, maybe you should get your glasses tested.
You think you can just whip out your cock, flap it around in our faces, and we'll believe everything you say? If you'd like to go through my opening statement point by point, I'd be willing to do that with you.
No. If I wanted to do that, I'd go into the text section of a library and read all the shit in there. Because it'd be much more truthful
than you would be willing to do that.
You're not making any arguments, though.
Gentlemen.
That's exactly the thing.
No. At the end of the day,
Bugsy is speaking.
Thank you, Hugh.
You're welcome.
We're going in circles, though. We really are.
I've been trying to redirect the conversation for the last 20 minutes.
Okay, but what is your point? I'm yet to see any sort of reasonable point from you.
So I presented an opening statement.
You did 40 minutes ago.
Yeah, and nothing that Hugh presented negated any of the things that I said. And the few arguments that he did make, I've easily disproved.
That's complete rubbish.
Hugh, do you have a response to this?
Your opening statement, right, like I said before, was full of rubbish. I disproved all of it. I just went through and dismantled every single argument he made.
You rant about your childhood trauma for the last half an hour.
That was my argument. That's completely different, right? Are you conflating our arguments, right? Because it doesn't look like you can distinguish between two things.
My point.
How many fingers am I holding up, huh? How many fingers am I holding up?
Hugh.
Let's go through this point by point.
I know you're a child, for Christ.
Hugh, let's go through this point by point, okay? So my first argument is how.
Oh God, this is boring. This is boring.
We can move on to another topic if you'd like to concede.
I'm not conceding. I've clearly won. I don't know why you're trying to. You're beating a dead horse here.
Hugh,
You're beating a dead horse.
I'm a busy man here. If you're not actually willing to engage in a debate, then we can talk about something else. If that
Hey,
makes
you're
you
the one
feel-
that's not trying
yeah,
to
make you feel
engage in
more
debate. You're the one who's
Gentlemen.
used the same poppycock point for the past hour and claimed it as complete evidence, right?
Gentlemen.
When even though I have disproved it,
Again,
right?
you
Bugsy
have
has agreed
nothing.
with a lot of what I said. I think Bugsy and I are on the same kind of level here.
Hugh,
The amount of people
with,
that agree with you has absolutely nothing to do with the validity of your
Constantine.
arguments. Do you understand that?
But Bugsy's opinion matters here because he is the host.
Gentlemen, may I interject? Hugh, with undue respect, I have agreed to fuck all that you have said. Constantine, the same does go for you, however. I would like to say the Freudian nightmares of both of your minds have been fully exposed in this segment. I
Freudian.
hate both of you more than I have at any point